First, you'll need to thoroughly clean and examine the concrete floor. If it's found to be even and fairly level, then tiles can be laid directly on the concrete surface. This concrete floor is bumpy and badly out of level. Before tiling, it must be screeded. To ensure stability on a smooth or shiny floor, the surface is keyed by pitting it with a hammer and cold chisel. Since this is a learning exercise, you will see only one 30cm wide strip. If you decide to key, you'll need to pit the whole area. For your screed mix, you'll require a shovel, buckets, water, cement and the right kind of sand. This yellow plaster sand is the right one. This white washed sand is not. Yellow plaster sand has different sized grains. On the other hand, white sand has grains roughly the same size. Therefore, yellow plaster sand mixes better with cement, making a perfect 4-to-1 mix. One bucket of cement to 4 buckets of sand. Make sure that the sand and cement is well mixed. You'll need to move your pile, shovel by shovel, to one side. And then put it back where it was. In order to add the water, you'll have to do the same exercise again. If you can get a friend to help you, it'll be a lot easier. The water is gradually added with the aid of a sponge until it reaches the consistency of a dry cake mix. That's to say, when you squeeze it in your hand and release it, it retains its shape. You'll need to check quantities with your supplier. Depending on your floor area, you may require a lot of mix, so enlisting a friend is a really good idea. If you've decided to key the floor, you'll need to mix water and cement in a bucket until it looks like a thick gravy, called a slurry. You pour this directly onto the keyed area and spread it with an old broom. This process ensures a good bond between the keyed surface and the screed. Here it follows the contours of the keying. Then you add your first screed strip and spread it with the steel float. This first strip is laid at the low end of the unlevel floor. Be sure to spread it evenly, somewhat higher than its desired height, and then pack it down well with the steel float. Then, using the straight edge, remove the excess mix from the screed strip and check for level until the desired height and level is achieved. Now proceed with the second and third strips, which run at right angles to your first screed strip. Here you see the third strip being spread and compacted. Then use that straight edge again, holding it firmly with both hands, rotating it and pulling it towards you while gently pressing it down. Check again for level and then clean up the excess. When constructing the second and third sides, you need to be careful not to dig into the first already level strip. When you're sure that your three sides are level, you can lightly apply the wooden or plastic float to achieve a perfectly level surface. If pits appear, use the excess to fill them by throwing small amounts into the pits like this. Throwing it rather than sprinkling ensures that it has a chance to embed itself into the surface. And when you've finished your three sides, it should look something like this. Now you're ready to fill the centre. Shovel in the mix as before and spread it evenly in the same way as before with the steel float. Level it with the straight edge, being very careful not to dig into your already level strips. Float it off with the wooden or plastic float and proceed with your next strip. Be careful never to let the strip get wider than you can reach with ease, and simply repeat the compacting, levelling and floating process. Holding the straight edge with both hands, rotating it and pulling it towards you, applying a gentle pressure to remove the excess. When you've checked for level, use the wooden or plastic float to finish. To prove that the screed is square, this student and his teacher have placed a long straight edge on the long side and a short straight edge on the short side of the screed. They measure and mark 800mm on the long side, 600mm on the short side. The measurement from one mark to the other is exactly 1000mm. That means it's square, so they proceed to trim the job. Using the trimmed edges, they measure the exact width and exact length required, mark it, relay the straight edge and trim the other two sides. The long straight edge is then laid on the screed diagonally for the crucifix level test. The spirit level is added and well done, young man. This screed is level and square. When it's dry in about 24 hours, it'll be ready for tiling.